How my 8th grade math teacher fought corporate greed and negligence with the power of gummy bears. I know that's a wild ride of a title, but I promise it's all true, so buckle up. When I was in 8th grade, I was in the first year of an experimental technology school. I had a class of about 188th graders, 12 to 14-year-olds, and about 10 teachers. So, everybody shared the same math teacher. For our first semester we used a software called Gauge. It was alright for most classes, but it was absolutely atrocious when it came to math. Nothing worked with math. We were supposed to use the lessons they had, but it just didn't work. Math symbols didn't show up right, and some questions even had the wrong answer marked. My math teacher wasn't allowed to just move to paper, and the company insisted that the problem was that our math teacher was older and just didn't understand technology. They said that if she had a genuine issue to email them. One day, I get to class, and there are 7 email addresses written on the board. She told us that we were going to go through our math lesson today, and take screenshots of every mistake we found and email them to the company's executives. 1 screenshot equals 1 email. 10 emails equals a packet of gummy bears. We had a blast trying to send as many emails as we could. One kid got 10 packets of gummy bears by end of the hour class. By lunch the principal called my teacher aside and asked for her to stop. She said hell no. My afternoon classes haven't had fun yet. Long story short, our school district got all of its money back from using the software, and the company no longer exists. Or they changed their brand out of shame. IDK, I just can't find them anymore. TLDR, the software company said to email if she found an actual issue, so she had an army of graders, inspired by gummy bears, send thousands of emails to the CEO and other executives. Now to the comments. The power of gummy bears is something that should never be underestimated. I'm an adult and I can still be bribed by gummy bears. Very true. Honestly, any kind of chocolate and I'm down to be bribed. No, don't take candy from strangers in a van, kids. Honestly, the simplest things are the best motivators. I was running a summer camp of 40 kids, all between the ages of 6 to 12. Our classroom had a fly problem. Anytime the back door opened several would fly in. One day I had enough and told my students that if they killed a fly, they would get a shiny pencil. Suddenly I had hordes of kids chasing down flies. Some kids got really good at it. I had one kid who killed like 8 flies in 2 days. My classroom suddenly had no issues with flies, while all the other classrooms were still struggling. So basically, you weaponized your kids through cheap bribery. Nicely done. That isn't their purpose. Or they changed their brand out of shame. Oh yeah. I know that. It's called Pearson now. That makes sense given how Pearson sucks. Try being a teacher in the UK. As a teacher, I 100% believe this, especially for packets of gummy bears. What could be a better motivator? Awesome story, OP. Hope this gets to the front page. Starburst are popular with my kids. They would shank someone for a starburst. I would shank someone for a pink starburst. Imagine what would happen if she threw in a pack of fruit gushers. Anarchy. It'd be Lord of the Flies in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. The company with the buggy software saying that the teacher's older and just doesn't understand technology. Projecting much? Right? How much you want to bet the CEO was 50 plus? More like 20 plus. Older my foot. They probably discounted her further for her gender. My 90-year-old mom was doing IT support for her friends. She is 98 now and can't see the screen as well. I'm what some would consider older. And I'll bet I have more time online than some of those CEOs and devs have been alive. First learned to program in 1967. Sheesh. Kids these days. Epic use of the resources at hand for your teacher. She rocks and I'll bet you learn things from her. Once in a job interview, I was asked what motivated me. I said food rewards. I got the job. But do they give you food rewards? I don't remember gummy bears, but I do remember this issue with that company. I think I might love your math teacher. She was also still teaching math. You can't take a screenshot of a wrong answer if you don't know it's wrong. Very smart. Also they're doing basic addition and multiplication to count how many bags of bears they're earning. When I taught middle schoolers about taxation without representation, I gave them all a little cup of M&Ms with instructions not to touch them until the lesson was over. Then I chose students to be king and parliament. The parliament chose random things to tax, everyone wearing white shoes, everyone who is left-handed, etc., and everyone who qualified lost some M&Ms. At the end almost none of the class had any candy left except the king and parliament. Food is a powerful motivator. They always got really into the revolutionary period after that. It bothers me how that piece of history is taught/perceived in the US. The fact the tax was to pay for a war in defense of the colonies always gets left out. Don't get me wrong, off with the king's head and all, but the reason that started it was just so much BS. Except the colonies were told they couldn't touch the land won in the war and the taxes were written without input of the colonies. So, they lost people for a meaningless war and now had more expenses. She built an organic botnet. You're telling me the hacker known as 4chan is actually an older math teacher using bribery and underage labor for good? The hacker is not named 4chan, the hacker is named Anonymous. 4chan is his speaking dog sidekick. Get your facts right. GBPT, keep them in the freezer. Once you've had frozen gummy bears, there's no going back. Ooh. My favorites are the Dare fruit juice gummies. Now that's good flavor. Tomorrow I am buying a pack and freezing them. I think I'll freeze them individually. Thanks for the tip. Not like I need it with all the Christmas chocolate around, but this isn't chocolate. Were they the sugar-free Haribo gummies that make you shit liquid fire? OMG, that Amazon review. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard. Oh my god, this is brilliant. Kids getting to A. Get candy. For B. Proving grown-up wrong. And C. Telling them they're wrong with an annoying method. This is such a trifecta of everything that would have brought my smart-ass childhood self joy. I loved being able to correct a teacher, let alone the textbook itself. I had a friend who did this for organic chem. 1 page read equals 1 gummy. She got the Haribo multi-pack. Also, my math teacher husband enjoys tales of sticking it to the man. I do this at work with my team. There are 50 of us. The development team fears when we find a bug/error in our tooling that bothers us enough for us to make a fuss. As a dev, I would much rather you tell me there's an issue than working around it or deciding to stop using the program. It's my job to make your job easier, but I cannot do that if you do not tell me about issues. My 8th grade math teacher encouraged us to learn with Jolly Ranchers, something to do with getting questions right and earning seconds where we could pass around a bucket. I don't quite remember. I just remember it being very high stakes. Edit, changes encouraged to encouraged. I am not still currently in the 8th grade. The gummy magic never leaves us. My husband is still eating his £5 Christmas gummy bear. He's 43. What kind of shitty customer service is this? Even if the problem laid with your teacher using the software wrong, this would still be a genuine problem for the software. As a designer, it is your job to ensure the system is usable by your user group, so if not tech-savvy, people are likely to use your software. Making it accessible for them is part of your job. Looks like there is a company called Gauge that does online learning stuff, but it looks like they are targeting large companies to use for online training modules, instead of schools. A similar thing happened with our woodshop teacher, except he encouraged his students to find all the porn and other dodgy sites that made it through the school's web blocker and then got fired for it.